What's going on, people? So, as I often do, gonna sit down here opening this pair of shoes and some other crap, right? But for the people, which I see seems like anyway, as the majority of the population that only care about the shoe thing, if I haven't updated the thumbnail yet and you're seeing this, whatever, it's the same thing I did a couple days ago. It's the Space Jam 11s. This time around, it's just a smaller version of it because it's a 9.5, which is for me. The previous was an 11 for a child that likely does not wear over a size 8.5. But that's another story for a day that already happened. So either way, there you go. Now you don't have to watch this if you don't really want to or whatever, because it's all the same. The only thing that will be different is the non-shoe portion, which comes after this. So let's go ahead and do that thing real quick. Normally, I would be at work right about now, but I heard, we were given the option or whatever to not work today and instead have a 4-day weekend. So who wouldn't take that option? You know what I'm saying? So now I'm sitting around here listening to the Cranberries and doing a lot of video editing for some things that I have to do soon enough. So it should be a good time today being able to do that. So there we go. Top of the box, Jordan box and all that stuff. Side of the box, Jordan box, right? Once again, I'm going to go ahead, open this thing up. These cheap style boxes that they have here. It's nothing fancy on the inside, unlike the other pair, right? The previous Space Jam pair had like a nice premium sort of feel, but it also had a more premium price tag too. So there's that. Okay, so there's one. Open up this other one, get that guy out of here. These are in this box all weird like. Now this did come straight from Finish Line, right? So the ones that I had before were raffles from Foot Locker and Champs. The one that I showed was an in-store pickup from Foot Locker. The one over there that will be going back is from Champs because I put in 2 raffles just to make sure I got them, and I figure I'll just return the pair that I don't need. But this one, the one for me, I got through Finish Line because they did that whole early access thing for certain people. So I did that, and now here we are, right? $200 and something later. I think 201 perhaps. That sounds fair. Either way, just looking at these and make sure nothing's wrong with them and all that stuff real quick before we go getting on into things. And like I said, doing this all again. So to save myself some time, the other pair, I already have it out of the box. So if you wanted to see the box and all that, well, that's not happening. There's another video for that. Space Jam 11s, people. So this one is obviously going to be the low. This one is, I think someone said it was a mid. I honestly can't remember. And from what I was showing you before, if you look at the bottoms, everything's looking pretty much the same down there. Nothing too different about it, right? Look at the side area. Obviously, this one, the low one, is going to have like lower cut leather. This one's kind of like high and thick or whatever. And then on the back of this one, you have the 23 and the Jumpman. On the back of this one, you have a 45, no Jumpman. It's over here on the side. There's that for you, right? So minor little difference. And then you have the rest of it. The upper is still going to be the same standard meshy type material. Some kind of crap scribbled on the tongue there. Tried to read that once, couldn't quite decipher it. Realized I didn't care, gave up, moved on with my day. Same thing I'm doing this time around. So let me get this thing out of here. So on the higher pair, on the inside of that one, it's going to be, where is it? Nike Air. You can kind of see that. This video does not look like it's very good quality-wise, but whatever, we're almost done. And then over here on that one, you have the Jumpman. So that's a minor difference, but it's on the inside, so it kind of doesn't really count. But otherwise, everything else is pretty much the same. So if you've seen these before in like the higher version, imagine somebody just chopped the piece off and called it a low, because that's pretty much what happened. Which is good, because if you liked how this went, and you're like me, but you prefer lower shoes, then this is kind of a good option or whatever. So I guess, do I like this one more than this? Yeah, I guess so. I do prefer that the mid one had like a better box with all the cool stuff in it or whatever. Because, for the money you pay, why not get like more stuff out of it? But it's not enough for me to really worry about, because this box, it's going to just be hanging out in a pile of boxes anyways. But when I'm wearing them, that's when it actually matters. And that's where this one, at least to me, comes out better. Because again, or a lot of running shoes. I'll be getting into that later with the video that I record after this, like an actual video, not just a live sit down and talk about nonsense sort of deal. So there you go. There's that. I do need to slip these things on real quick because I don't wear a lot of 11s. I felt like true to size was right when I got them, but I honestly can't recall. What was the last pair I got? Was it the Cherry 11s? Is that the last pair of 11s that came out? Maybe it was that one. I really just don't know. I get them, I do the little video things, and then put them somewhere until I get around to wearing them, But I'm going to slip these things on real quick, see how this whole thing goes. All right, yeah, that's fine. I might have to tighten these up just a wee bit because they do feel a little bit loose-ish, but, that's possibly a lacing thing, not a big deal. So yeah, true to size is working out for me. It'll probably work out for your average person as well. But there are a plethora of reviews out there, I'm sure of, because everybody was buying these. A lot of people buy 11s. I get it, right? This is in my opinion, one of the nicer pairs to release lately because it's a more wearable color than a lot of other things I've seen. So there's probably no shortage of videos on the internet. That's where I'm going with that. But whatever, moving along. Like I said, after the shoe thing, I got a bunch of action figures, I guess, to open up. So if you aren't into that, you can leave, I guess, or you can just leave this on as background noise, whatever you want to do. Let's see, go ahead and open this thing up. So this first thing is actually not action figures. I was at the gym the other day and realized, as I was getting ready that morning, whatever, to go to the gym later, realized I don't have a whole lot of Adidas tank tops, at least not as many as I would like to have. Probably more than is necessary, but I like color variety. So I had to pick up a couple of these. Luckily, Adidas, as of right now, is doing a sale. A lot of things are 30% off. So I picked up this one, which I thought was pretty cool and matches up pretty well with a pair of, what do you call that? The I-5923, which is actually the exact same color of these. That's crazy. And I think those ZX4000 4Ds or whatever are the same. But either way, so you got that whole thing going on. It's kind of a weird sort of material. It feels a lot like those Actibreeze 3D shirts from ASICS that I'm not a huge fan of. But I think it'll work out all right. And again, these things, they can come with some hefty price tags. This one was $75. But if you wait for the deals, because most people aren't trying to spend that amount of money for a shirt, right? So I got it for 30% off. The only thing you run into with stuff like that sometimes is like your size may not be available anymore by the time those sales kick in. I usually get pretty lucky, so that's why I keep suggesting it. But I don't know, your mileage may vary. I suggest just going to the site, look at what's on sale, see where your size sits, and if your size is often there you go. You should probably have good luck in the future too. This one right here, some kind of like, I don't know, like, I don't know how to describe this. It almost looks like when they show like the terrain of planets or something. It's kind of a cool color. So I figured let's go ahead and do that thing. Not sure what this inner material is or whatever, but I just needed something lightweight and whatnot, and this is something lightweight and whatnot. This one a little bit cheaper, comes in at $60 only, but again, I think it was like 30% off, and that was enough for me to go ahead and do that. So there's that piece of it. Let's go ahead, turn this box around, keep my address to myself because who really needs my address except me, right? If you want to send me something or whatever, I urge you to not send me anything or to not want to send me anything, whatever. What in the world is this? Oh, right. So this is the Nightfall Batman or something, right? Yeah, Nightfall Batman. I bought this a while ago, like a long while ago, and God, it was like months ago. It's one of those impulse buys, And then Amazon was like, hey, we shipped your order. And I'm like, what order, right? And then you see the perplexedness again today when I get it, and I'm like, what am I even looking at here? I've ordered a lot of Batman figures. I do like this one. I like the gray and the black. It's not my favorite. I do prefer the gray and the blue. It's just kind of a cooler color. I don't have any personal tie to it or whatever. but it's not bad. And a lot of those DC figures are done pretty well. They're also done in large numbers. So if you see one and you want it and it sells out immediately, like sure, whatever. That's a typical thing to happen. But usually they have the later release when like they start hitting more stores and stuff. So you'll probably find stuff later without all the hassle. Same with when I got my Hush Batman. It was on back order in a lot of places, but nowadays you can just like get it, right? It's fairly easy to find. So that's cool. And now we have some Ringside Collectibles wrestling figures, right? Bought a whole set of these the other day. I was buying a whole lot of wrestling figures that I don't need because that's a thing that I do a lot. So let's go ahead and get these things all out of this box, right? It's a Build-A-Figure set. So that's kind of nice. All right, so first up, was it SummerSlam, right? Yeah, this is the SummerSlam series for this year. So first up, we have X-Pac here. Normally, I have the video sent through the TV there, so I don't get this glare or whatever, but you're just going to have to bear with it because I didn't really think this through. So there you go. There's an X-Pac figure. There's that. It looks pretty decent, but I do prefer the one that's in my room over this one because that one is like the NWO style, and this one looks just kind of, I don't know, looks kind of just like just generic wrestling figure that you might just find in any store that isn't like an actual branded figure, you know? Then you have Kane here, right, which is makes that X-Pac figure a little better because, you know, they did have a tag team at some point. So since they're both wearing the red and black, that kind of goes together. Not bad. And then there you go, picture on the back. Though Kane does look like an ogre in this release. Like his head looks all cone-shaped. This is not a good-looking Kane figure. I mean, I say that. Hopefully this isn't like accurate to what he actually looks like, because that would be unfortunate. And I've seen him in person. I saw him at Comic-Con one year. Like I walked into the bathroom and there he was. And I was like, oh, why are you so in the way? You know what I'm saying? Because he's a big dude, you know? But either way, moving along. Undertaker over here. Now this Undertaker is not really focusing or whatever. And it looks a lot like, it's very similar to the basic Undertaker and Kane that they did a while ago. Well, this was like at least no later than like 2017, 2018, right? So that one was a basic 2-pack Undertaker and Kane. It came with like a shovel or something. This looks very much like the same figure, just repackaged. So that's probably what happened. But there you go. This time around, he has a hat though, and no weird shovel. So there's that. And then last but certainly not least, because it's the reason I bought this set for the most part, it's the Lex Luger figure. So there you go. There's that right there. It's looking pretty good. It's all ready for the 4th of July, but that used to be just how he dressed. And I did happen to get a Yokozuna figure the other day, which you will probably see whenever I do my May action figure pickups thing. So that'll go pretty well with this. So that's kind of what helps me like justify buying these things in some kind of way, is that I buy them and then I have other stuff that goes with them. So when I stand them up in different areas, it can be like, oh, look, it's like when he was on the ship and he body slammed them, you know? So that's one of the upsides to having multiple figures and stuff. But it's also the downside because you buy one thing and then it makes you want to get this other thing because it just kind of makes sense, right? Let's go ahead, open this thing up here. And what is this? Okay, so this is just a bunch of random figures that I needed to get for other reasons. So this, if anybody's ever seen They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper, this figure is from that movie. There's that. Actually, I might watch that this weekend because I've bought a couple of their shirts in the past. So there are a lot of the things in this series were just old. You know, you have the natural disasters. There's an R-Truth re-release. This must be the greatest hits series then. Yeah, greatest hits series. So then you have the Seth Rollins with the Money in the Bank. Butcher, Brutus the Barber Beefcake was there. And then the figure that I'm holding right there, Rowdy Roddy Piper. So there's going to be that. When they do the greatest hits series, they basically just take a figure that was from however many years ago and re-release it. It's no different than doing retros of like, you know, certain shoes and such. Now, putting this back, Undertaker, he's wearing the one man show shirt, and I thought that was kind of a cool touch. Like, I don't like this figure very much, to be completely honest, but I was at the first ever one dead man show in wherever SummerSlam was that year, somewhere in Tennessee. So I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. You know, I'll get that just because it makes sense to me. So there you go. It's because he's doing his old biker thing, which I was not a huge fan of, honestly. This I was a fan of, though. This Brock Lesnar in his like denim vest. I don't know why, but I just think it's really cool. So there's that on the back, typical Brock Lesnar thing. And there he is, just looking so happy with his cowboy hat on, you know? So pretty cool. And then there wasn't much else in that line that I wanted. And this was the rest of this particular line, in case anybody was curious. Both of them pretty lackluster. I mean, I do need this Finn Balor, right? I'm questioning that because I feel like I don't have it. I just want to be certain. And then this Dominic Mysterio, right? So there's that as well. And one quick note, as far as buying these action figures, the wrestling ones, I got them from Ringside Collectibles. So if you order something from there and it's not released yet, it can be a little pricey, but that's probably to just throttle sales, because if you order from them, you will get it faster than you'll get it from anywhere else, right? I've bought figures from there and then not seen them in stores for like months later. So it's kind of cool to be like ahead of the curve or whatever, especially if you really want something. But if you have patience, you can wait. And once those figures hit like all the other stores, then their prices will drop to regular pricing. And so you can get these things for like $22 or whatever the standard MSRP is, you know? Now we got a big bad toy store box. I don't know what's in this, but it's something that I want. I can at least say that, because I do know that this was one of my pile of loot things. So if you ever go on there to Big Bad Toy Store, you can buy a bunch of stuff and put it to the side in a little pile, right? And then as you need it, you have it shipped to you. So if you buy like a couple things in April, a couple things in May, then a couple things in June, and now you're like, okay, now that all these figures have come out, like ship them all together, right? Saves on shipping and all that good stuff. And you do have the option to cancel up to that point where you have them sent to you. But if more than 7 days has passed since you made that order, you will not get an actual dollar refund. You'll get a store credit refund, which for me is fine because I buy from them a lot. So whatever. So, okay, I had a Moon Knight figure of a similar release not too long ago. So it's going to be an Iron Man. He's all like silvered out and stuff, so it's kind of cool. Let's see, this does have a window package sort of deal, and it doesn't have a whole lot of crap going on. So that's what the figure looks like. So it's kind of like the original Iron Man in that it's all like steel looking, but it's thinner, right? It's not looking so fat and stuff. So I think it's a pretty nice look, right? This comes from the Yamaguchi series, right? So I think it said that somewhere on here. Well, it says Kyoto. I guess the other one was the Yamaguchi one. But, you know, I picked this up from Big Bad Toy Store, like I said. But a lot of that stuff you can get cheaper if you're willing to go through the Japanese sites and such, because they don't charge you the full imported price. And even once you pay for the shipping there from there, even then it's still not too bad. They have different tiers. If you go to like certain sites where you can get like the boat shipping, which takes like 2 months, you can get some kind of expensive shipping that only takes like a couple days, and then they have like 2 or 3 other options somewhere in the middle. So it just kind of depends on how much you want to spend. Recently, I bought 2 Spider-Man figures from some Japanese site, paid for the most expensive shipping, and it's still total under what it would have cost to buy them here in the States, right? So no complaints there, not out of me, just letting you know what your options are. And this right here got a little Venom dude, right? I have a couple other ones. I have like the blue Venom, I have a Carnage, I have a Toxin, I might have a Spider-Man. I don't know. I've been waiting on this one forever so that I could get this set opened up, put out somewhere, and they finally just got it to me. Well, let me clarify that statement, right? Because I had originally ordered through Entertainment Earth, and Entertainment Earth, after a couple months, they're like, "We don't have it. We can't send it to you." And I was like, "You didn't know this a while ago?" So whatever. Entertainment Earth they're fine with stuff that you know is ready, in stock, and able to ship. But if it's any kind of pre-order or back order thing, just don't even bother. So I went to Big Bad Toy Store, and they were like, "Yeah, we got it, dude. We'll send it to you. Just give us like 2 months." They're usually pretty accurate, and that's what happened. So now let's go ahead and this is a Ridge Holland figure. Where's the thing? I'm not sure what piece he's supposed to come with, honestly. The head? Oh, there should be a head somewhere in here. I can't quite see where it is, but there's supposed to be a head in there because this is a Build-A-Figure set, right? So what you see there is going to be Ridge Holland. I am not exactly a fan of the guy, but that largely comes down to the fact that, like I said, the head over there, that he injured Big E from the New Day, and then Big E is like now no longer around or whatever. So this right here, it's a cool one to have, just so I could build this Virgil. That's the only reason I wanted this set, because otherwise, like, all of these figures are garbage to me. Like, I mean, I like Brock Lesnar, you know, but even the figure in this set is not great. But I had to buy this one from eBay because I don't know what's with the distribution of that set, but it has not been very good. So I figure I'll just go on here, I'll pay this person a little bit more than I want to, but whatever. Doing the math, they're barely making what they might not have made what they spent on that figure, right? Because, you know, probably cost them like $25 or something when everything was said and done. Unless they bought it early, in which case it probably cost them more. And this, the coup de grace, if you will, at least this time around. Madeline Pryor, the Goblin Queen, right? X-Men 97. If you watched X-Men 97, like, you know that was a really solid show, right? But the thing was, this particular figure has been selling like hotcakes for some odd reason. And now it's just sold out in most places, but GameStop had it. And I saw that, bought it immediately, didn't even think about it. So I do have the rest of these for the most part. So I had the Magneto one a little while ago. He's over there in the corner. The rest of those guys, the other four, I have, yeah, well, 5, I guess. I don't know. 4. The other 4 of those on the back there, I did put that order in a while ago, and they were hanging out in my little pile of loot on Big Bad Toy Store. So I shipped those this morning now that I got her. So I'll do the full set thing later on. But this is pretty cool because from the show, I didn't, you know, I was like, okay, this is something to have. But from before that, when they just put it up as a pre-order, I didn't really know anything about her. I was just like, I don't know who that is. I don't know if I need to care about that. But then once I watched it, I was like, oh, I do need to get this because that is going to make sense. It's kind of weird how pinkish she is. That doesn't seem normal. But overall, it's a pretty solid figure. I've got no complaints about it. And from what I'm told, there aren't a lot of Goblin Queen figures in general, just even previous releases on her previous brands and such. And you got the little baby cable in there. So there's that before the whole techno virus and all that nonsense. So there you go. That is everything. I would normally use this moment to do a quick recap of the shoes that I picked up or whatever. But given that that was my second time talking about them, Space Jam 11s, you've seen it. So we're just going to move on. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I got to move all this crap out of the way, record a video, then go back to editing more things because I got to fill this day with something. I mean, it's only like 2 o'clock, you know? Thanks for showing up, whoever was in there listening and whatever, playing this in the background, whatever people do out there, I don't know. I don't really care. Like, live your life however you want to live it. But I do appreciate you giving me some amount of attention. That's kind of cool, right? Especially since, like, we don't even know each other more than likely. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, but appreciated. So now with that out of the way, thanks again. Later, people. I'm going to find this end stream button and see what's going on with that.